Well, I was my boyfriend for 4 years, and I invited him to live in my apartment, and then he verbally abused me and threatened me for about 3 years. And my trauma therapist told me that he would kill me if I didn't leave, and I didn't believe what she was saying. So I just said, "Oh, he loves me. He wouldn't do that." And she said, "If you don't leave, he will kill you. It's not a matter of if, but when." So in 2016, he came home from a weekend of partying, and I didn't like that he had been gone all weekend with other women, so I said something about it, and he assaulted me in my apartment and strangled me for I don't know how long, and then threw me across the room, and told me if I told anybody about it, he would fucking kill me.
Wow.
And then I stayed another year. It took me a year to leave because I had no money. And when you're abused like that, you don't even think about kicking him out of your own apartment because you're just so abused. It just isn't an option.
Jeez. Nightmare. So how he just?
Yeah.
I mean, did he almost kill you, or he must have decided at one point? Were you out unconscious at one point, or?
I was not unconscious. I'm 5'4", 120 pounds, and this guy was 6'2", 220 pounds. And he had both of his very powerful hands around my throat.
Wow.
He could have killed me. He could have killed me. Because I have neck problems anyway. I got into a car accident like years before that, and he knew that. So any slight anything with my neck could have snapped it. So he knew all of that. So it was a very personal thing to do. It was a very personal thing to do, and he didn't care.
Jeez. So okay, so you got out of there at some point.
I got out of there, yeah, I did. I packed up my car and drove 4 miles away. So that's
miles?
what I did.
You kind of cut out right when you... How many miles did you drive?
4,000.
4,000? Is there even that many miles in the U.S.?
Yes.
I think it's only... I think it's only 3,500 miles across the country. You must have been going in circles half the time.
No, I didn't file charges. I was reading I did not file charges. I was too scared to file charges against him, and I totally regret that. I completely regret that. I would, if I had to do it over again, I would have done it a lot different. But I was, the thing about Stockholm syndrome is very true. Like, that happens. That happens. An abuser can be like, "Oh, please don't tell anybody," and you'll say, "Okay." Back then, it just happens. It's 4 years of verbal abuse until they finally hit you. So, you're not in a state of mind to really go to the police. I wasn't anyway.
Yeah.
So
well, you don't have to explain yourself on that, but so what is the update on it then?
So the update is I went public. I went public with outing him because he's a teacher at a college.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I got sick and tired of being quiet about it. And then another person came forward after I did that interview for BuzzFeed magazine. They did an interview with me about Gabby Petito, and strangulation. So I said, oh, sure, I'll do that. So somebody else came forward. Another victim came forward that he had choked. And so I was like, okay, this guy's going down. So I went public. I got in touch with people. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody. I was asked for like proof. Like, I'm like, what kind of proof you want? Like bruises? Like, what the fuck? Nobody cared. Not one person gave a shit. So that was hard to swallow.
But that's just recently?
Then nobody cared about.
Recently, right?
Yeah, this very recently. Yeah. I got in touch with his, everybody that, and they silence, blocking, you name it. It was shocking. So it takes a very strong person to come forward and tell their story, because nobody believes us. They don't care. I felt like they didn't care. And then the other thing, I just want to mention another thing. So I had I still have it. I still have PTSD from being with this guy and going through that. And I haven't been able to work full time for the past year. And a friend of 16 years, we're no longer friends anymore, because she just kind of went off on me about not getting over it, and you're not special. Everybody has trauma. You're not special. Stop playing the victim. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you name it. Lazy. She called me lazy for having trauma and having PTSD. I was just like, wow.
But aren't you going to work in a morgue?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing, Gray. I wanted to tell you. I got back into a mortuary science program because my program closed during the pandemic forever. And so I found another program, so I'll be completing my bachelor's degree in mortuary science in the next year, so I'll be done. So I'll be a mortician in about a year.
Awesome. You'll have to dress differently, like maybe put like more wear dark hair, really dark sort of makeup on your face, and all that stuff. It'll be awesome.
But I just wanted to say to the survivors out there that I'm 5 years out of that situation, and I think that if you want to tell your story, please do, because we need more people that come forward and tell our stories, and so you don't feel so alone. I've joined support groups for survivors, and I'm going to be starting an intensive outpatient program for PTSD, because I want my life back. And so I feel like things have been good, but I think it's shameful the way that we treat survivors of domestic violence. It's shameful.
Yeah, you don't think that the I mean, not you don't think. Why do you think that the they didn't with another witness take it more seriously, or did the other person not say anything? Or?
The other person did, actually. The other person reached out to the same people I reached out to, and we got dead silence. It's baffling. I'm still kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, well, one of the things though,
there's three.
Yeah. The problem is
there's three.
Yeah, go ahead. We have this delay, but anyways, what I'm trying to say is, when they come forward and they say, "Do you have proof?" I guess what they're wanting is like, show us a photograph of yourself afterwards, or these other people, because, that's kind of what happened with like Kavanaugh, and when he ran for.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Sure.
I mean, how do you, even if you have.
You don't.
So that's the thing that's tough, is how do you prove it? people can't. The reality is that whole Me Too thing where you just have to believe. Well, I mean, it's weird how it's a political thing too. You're only supposed to believe the accuser when it's of a certain party, who's the perpetrator. But then when it's the other way around, oh, they would never do that. We need proof. So it's kind of this stupid. I hate that it shouldn't even be political at all. But yeah, it's sort of weird. I mean, how do you prove something? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? Maybe that's something we need to.
In my case, I didn't go to the police, but what I did do was I had therapists that I talked to, and I had people that I told. That was important.
Yeah.
And then I had doctors that I went to for the PTSD, and they were like, "Well, why are you here?" And then I told them, like, I'm a victim of domestic violence, and I tell them what happened. So I think, but problem is that we get assaulted behind those doors. Have a camera ready. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know as well as I do that most of the time when you get attacked, it's like split second. You don't have time to do anything.
I think what it comes down to, probably the best thing is the moment you have freedom is to go right into a doctor, a hospital, or a police station, even though that's just not what people do, right? Like you were saying, you're sort of in this weird abusive cycle where you're staying around. But if you really, you're at that moment where you're gone, you're going to leave, you almost have to go straight to the police or a doctor's office after an incident and you're still alive, and go in and report it, and that's where it's all documented. But it's like when you wait a year later and you that's what makes it hard for people to do anything about it, right? I mean, I don't know. How do they
agree? I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I would have done what you said to do and go to the police and go to a hospital. I would have done that right away if I would have been of sound mind. But back then, 5 years ago, he assaulted me, and then he sat on the bathtub, at the edge of the tub, and cried because he thought he was going to lose his job. So back 5 years ago, I was next to him, consoling him after he assaulted me.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know it's
so ridiculous.
I know what's fun. I get it. Like, it's funny now looking back at yourself doing that, because it's like, what the hell was I mean, it's morbidly funny, because it's not really funny. I mean, it's morbidly funny. But and you know what? You get to a point in your recovery where you do that. You're like, what the hell? But I mean, I guess what's funny, like you were just saying, is like you're actually consoling him. Poor guy, I know.
Oh yeah.
I know you just choked me, but I don't want you to lose your job. I love you. Wow. So
that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. And that's why people get killed, is because they stay with these assholes and they're like, oh, and then they kill you the next day. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, there's hope out there. You can leave. Please leave. If somebody tells you to leave, leave. Mm-hmm. Don't. If somebody says, "Oh, that guy's gonna kill you," don't be like, "Oh no." If somebody tells you that, leave. So, please.
No, I mean, it's crazy. Like,
but anyway, I just wanted to call and.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, like in Lori's situation, quote Lori. I mean, that's another thing too. Like remember when she went into work and the boss just was a jerk and said, "You're fired. We can't have somebody in there causing drama." But man, imagine going to the police station looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that would have been a huge. I mean, they would have been all over that shit, right? And been right over there. But see, that's the thing. You're in a cycle where you need the person, because in her case, she's 1,000 miles away. That's kind of one of the reasons he moved her, is so that she would need him and would be in a situation where she had no options, so couldn't do anything. See, that's brutal.
Well, I shared that a little bit with my ex, because by the time that they do that to you, they've cut you off from everybody. You have nobody else. You have nobody else but that person. Literally. And I was a medical professional when he hit me. I was working at a hospital. So, you know, I'm a college educated, medically trained person that was so heavily abused that nobody recognized me after 4 years.
When you'd go into work with bruises, what would people say? What would you say? Oh, I hit my face on a doorknob, or what?
Well, you have really good makeup. I have really good makeup skills, and people would just comment like, "God damn, your boyfriend's a fucking asshole," and I'm like, "Yep," but that was about it.
Oh, so some people just knew, right?
Oh yeah, everybody knew.
Wow.
Everybody knew. Yeah, everybody knew, but nobody did anything. That's what I mean. Like, everybody knew, but nobody did anything. And then I even made an emergency plan with my work in case, like, I felt like I was going to be killed, that I could go to a safe house. It was ridiculous. Like, it was a big elephant in the room that nobody talked about. That's why I mean it's ridiculous, because talking about it now, it's like...
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because you actually made me laugh the way you said it, but, you know, when you really... It's not a funny topic, it's just like... Yeah, I mean, from a distance, it's just almost absurd, right? That somebody would be consoling the abuser. You know, like you're just... You know, you could have a swollen up, bloody face, and then you're consoling him because he feels bad and he was going to lose his job, something like that. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yes, and that's how twisted it is. That's how.
Yeah. It's
gross. It's just gross, and I don't want to be there ever again. So, I haven't dated anybody since then. I've been alone for 5 years because I'm working on not being in that place ever again. So
yeah, you just got to be totally...
I think I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's like whenever you're happy with yourself and you're totally self-reliant and you're okay being on your own, that's the best time to meet somebody, because then if something goes wrong, you can just go, see ya, on a dime. Like you're just right back to doing your own thing, doing well. But when you're in a situation where you're sort of like, you're not doing well, it's like that what is that called again when you're codependency?
Codependency.
Codependency, and it's just, that's when it doesn't work at all. I think what you're doing is the right way to do it. And you'll be more attractive to somebody too, because it's like, wow, look how confident she is, man. She's kicking ass out there, you know? Yeah,
I feel like I've made some progress, and I'm doing okay. I just gotta get this PTSD under control. But I'm entering an intensive outpatient program, and it's like a 6-week program, and I'm really excited. And they know about the domestic violence, and I think that my life will be
what's the PTSD feel like? I mean, what's going on in your mind? I mean, what's happening?
Well, before I had it, I could go to work 40 hours a week and leave the house, and now I barely ever leave the house. I'm always on an alert. I can't sleep anymore. I cry a lot. It makes you anxious all the time. It makes you just. You have flashbacks. Like I used to be like, what are flashbacks? But you do. You think you feel like you're still in the moment. You feel like you're still there. Your body does. Like your rational mind knows you're not, but your body says,
Yeah, like you can be sitting around and almost daydreaming about it, and then boom, like you're almost back in the situation, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So, so I hope to be out of that cycle, that PTSD cycle someday. But I've had it for 5 years. It's really hard to find treatment for that when you're a victim of domestic violence. To find treatment for PTSD.
Well, I think what
very different.
What I think will probably happen is that, once you get through the schooling and you start feeling really good on your own and stuff like that, and that'll just sort of fade away a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. Treatment will probably help out a lot, but I just think that and then maybe
treatment will help, and then go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe you might meet somebody at some point when you're ready, and then all of a sudden that person's really how about when your relationship, was he ever really nice and sweet and loving, like the other stories that we heard?
He was for about a month, actually. He started abusing me about 2 months in, and it was very insidious, I call it, very insidious abuse. It was, silent treatment, little controlling little things, and it just kind of started adding. It compounds, it adds up, and it's very, very subtle at first, and then before you know it, you're cut off and isolated and completely just gaslit almost every day of your life. And the woman that came forward after she saw that article I did, she she told me a bunch of stuff that I didn't know, like even worse stuff that he was doing behind my back, and I was like, oh my God. So it's always way worse than you think it is. They're never the people that you think they are.
Well, see, that's what I was going to say is, when you say they never are, that's going to be hard. Like, you're going to meet, you will meet somebody else someday, right? And then when you're dating them, you're always going to wonder, like, when I say always, it's possible you might wonder for a long time, is this person going to turn into a crazy person again, right? Because how do you know? Like, remember that first month was great, right? And then all of a sudden you're...
Well, well, the difference is if I do date, they're not gonna be invited to live in my apartment like a year after I meet them. That's not happening anymore.
Maybe you date. How about this? You date for 2 years, you get to know all the families and all of his friends, and then think of something like that. All right.
That's fine.
Okay.
That sounds like a good.
I'm giving you the advice for later. You guys date for 2 years.
Okay.
You do your own thing. Then, if everything checks out, all of his friends, you don't hear any crazy stories, then boom. All right. Then you can go further.
Okay.
Right.
Before I let you go, I just want to say to the survivors out there, you're awesome, and you keep me going. And I just want to say also, if people tell you to get over it, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's your healing. So go, tell them to just go fuck themselves and lose their number if they tell you that.
Yeah, and not only in this, what you just said is absolutely true, not just in the realm of domestic violence, but in anything. Like, if you have a family member that dies, and your friends start going, would you just get over it? They are the worst friend you'd ever had. Get the hell rid of them. They are a joke.
Yeah,
right? So,
lose their number. Lose their phone number. Exactly, because they haven't been through what you've been through.
Yeah.
So just be strong and lean on your friends and find the joy in the little things, because that's what I do. Anyway, great. I love your show.
Yeah.
And fuck the haters.
Yeah, I can see you coming out on the good end of this pretty soon, next year or so. All right, there you go. Boom.
Yeah,
you're doing good.
I'm the same. Well, thank you. I'll let you go, and have a good evening, everybody.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Appreciate calling in, Kit.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.